Hey, beautiful people. How's everybody out there? How are you doing tonight, Alex?
I'm doing fantastic. The weather here in Virginia was very nice, and then we had a torrential downpour, and then it stopped, and the sun came back out again. So, welcome to Virginia.
Well, we must be getting your weather here in Michigan because we've got the rain part of it now. So maybe after we're finished with the podcast, maybe the sun will come out here or some semblance of not rain and I can go for another walk. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, so you know what? I hear that the Golden State Warriors are playing the Boston Celtics for the NBA Finals. Which team do you have?
And what's it? Tonight is game 3, right?
Tonight is game three. That's right.
Yeah,
Hey, you kind of keeping up a little bit there, okay? Because my Celtics took game one. See, they took game
right.
one, but
Yeah.
of course, the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors, came back and they were in their homes, in their home playoff court. So they got game two. So we're gonna see tonight who's gonna get game three. Who do
Well,
you
I
who
think.
who, who you rooting for?
I don't have a dog in the race because unfortunately I'm a Knicks fan. Um, but
Boo! His boo!
but I'll say this: historically, I am not a Celtics fan. Historically,
Mm.
they have had a lot of players I liked and that I really like to see play. But historically, I guess because of the history, going back to Bill Russell, how they treated Bill Russell, stuff like that when he was
Oh
winning all the
yeah,
championships. So
yeah.
I'm not a Celtics fan for that, but I mean that has nothing to do with the guys playing today.
Right.
That's just
Yeah.
my hang up.
You still kind of holding on, huh?
Holding on, but as far as go,
You
as far
stay
as
angry. You stay angry a long time, don't you?
but as far as Golden State, I mean, we know what Steph and Clay can do, and Draymond. We know what them guys can do. Then you got Andre Iguodala. So these guys have done it before. They've done it without Kevin Durant before. A lot of people say, "Oh, Kevin Durant's not there. They're not going to win it again." They won it before Kevin Durant got there.
I was
So
gonna say, yeah, they sure did.
yeah, so there's not gonna make big of it. As long as they still have Steph and Clay and Draymond and that nucleus, they can do it
hmm
again. Now the Celtics is not gonna make it easy for them. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So if they win another one, it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah. It's not gonna be easy, but you got to remember though too, the Celtics are a dynasty. Even before the Golden State Warriors were a dynasty, the Celtics were a dynasty,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and I think one of the things, cause see, I go way back to the bad boys of the Pistons, Detroit Pistons basketball, and one
Right.
of the things that I've always observed is that the team that has not only good shooting but also great defense,
Mhm.
they will sometimes wear down the person. Like, cause I can recall when the Detroit Bad Boys wore down the one and only Michael Jordan. I started to say Michael B. Jordan, but that's coming up later. Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey. But
Yeah.
but they wore them down. I mean, between Dennis Rodman and hey, all those guys and Rick Mahorn being
Yeah.
on Michael MJ, like man, he could not get a shot in.
Yeah. Bill Lambier. They beat Jordan
And
down.
Bill, thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. Bill Lambier. You're right. You're
Mhm.
right. Big old floppy Bill Lambier. I call him the NBA's greatest flopper
Yeah.
because if Michael Jordan so much as looked at Bill Lambier would take that big pale body of his and just fall all over the floor. And
Right.
the oh Lord, I'm tongue tied right now.
But you talking about the
The
referees?
yeah, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. The referees would have all kind of sympathy for big old, almost 7 foot tall Bill Lambier. They would be like, "Oh, it's a foul," and that
Yeah.
would get Michael into trouble because he would get into foul trouble.
Right. Right.
So it's a lot of strategy with that. But
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
But you know what? And everybody hate. I mean, Larry Bird despised Bill Lambier. Everybody hated Bill Lambier. So,
Except if you were a Detroit Pistons fan, you loved them.
but you know what? And you're right because I love that team, and that's why I don't watch basketball today because they don't allow you to play defense. like they did back in the day. You can hardly even put your hands on anybody. The referee's blowing the whistle. You know, everything's a flagrant foul, a flagrant one, a flagrant two. You know, you can't show your emotions if you cuss out loud or whatever. You're not even
Hmm.
talking to the referee, but he wants to call a technical foul. I mean, they've softened the game up to such a degree that it's
Oh
like I
yeah,
can't, yeah, I can't watch it.
that has taken a lot of the. I get what you're saying. It has changed a lot. Well, I don't know. I guess the thing that always stands out to me the most is what changed a lot too was the attire. You know, the
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
aren't wearing those little booty shorts anymore.
No, and you know who started that?
Who
Um,
started that? I don't. I want to
Allen
know.
Iverson. He started wearing them baggy shorts and the big jersey, all the tattoos and the
Oh,
braids.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny because that's my daughter. That's one of her icons in basketball, and she has a few chances to meet him and get a picture when she was younger with him. That was her one of her icons because she also played basketball in high school and not in college, but in high school though.
Right, right, yeah. And Allen Iverson, he's from here, along with Michael Vick and a few other ones. You know,
I
he's from
heard that. I
yeah,
have
he's
heard that. I heard that when she was down there in and I think that might have been the last time she saw him. I think when she was on a flight from here to there and
yeah,
he was at that time still coming through Michigan and going down there. Yeah, yeah.
yep.
In
So he's from
Virginia,
here.
right?
Yep, he
Okay.
Newport News, Hampton area. You
Oh,
know,
okay. The Hampton Road. Okay, okay.
yep, Hampton Roads. So who? But
Hampton
before
Road.
we get on to our next subject, who do you have? You got the Celtics, right?
I got the Celtics. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
oddly enough, and normally if it were, depending on the team from the East Coast, I'm typically like to go with the East Coast team. But normally, depending on if it had been a different team playing, I might have went with the Golden State Warriors because I think honestly they may take the whole thing. Really,
Hmm.
I do believe that, but I'm still rooting. A lot of times I like to root for the underdog anyway. And like I
Hmm.
said, because I really love the strategy, the strategic play of the Boston Celtics, I'm rooting for them. So that's who I'm rooting for. Who are you guys? Put it in the chat out there, guys. Who are you rooting for?
Mm.
Warriors or the Celtics? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then Roro for real says, yeah, you can't trash talk. You can't. And that's another reason why I don't like. You can't trash talk in the NBA. They softened the game, just like LNV said, just like in football. They softened football up. So, and they do this because of corporate America. There's a lot of corporate sponsorship, a lot of corporate dollars, and they want
Mm-hmm.
the stars on the court. They don't want the stars getting hurt, getting injured. So, yeah, there's a lot of money in that to keep the stars on the court and on the
Yeah.
field.
Right, right. To keep
Yeah.
them from getting injured. Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Well, somebody says that speaking of football, somebody always says that about Tom Brady that you basically can't even look in his direction or you'll get in trouble on the
Big
football
time,
field.
big time. You can't
Hmm.
even look at him. If if you if a defensive lineman run by him and graze his helmet, they throw a flag. I mean, I said, what is this, football or ballet? You know, what are we playing here? It's craziness.
Oh, thank you, Charlene. Hey there, welcome in, sis. That's Alex. That guy. The he says part tonight is that's Alex W. Leath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do
Yes.
we have next? What do we have next?
Well, we're going to get into some of the hot topics of the past week, the past several days. And I'm not sure if anyone in the chat may have know of this rapper. There's a rapper from Atlanta, very popular rapper. His name was Trouble, and he was killed a couple of days ago in a domestic incident. Now, the incident was he was visiting a female friend, perhaps somebody he was seeing or dating, who knows? But she was a female friend, and her ex burst in the house and started popping off shots. Okay, and killed the rapper. Okay, the young lady's alive. Okay, but the
Mm,
rapper was killed or whatever,
wow.
and he left the scene. So they're still looking for him now. They know who he is,
Oh, okay.
and
They do know who that person is.
yeah,
Okay.
they know who he is. They're looking for him now. But see, and this the things I'm talking about. See, when we got into this stuff with Shorty and Kenny and stuff like that, it touched a lot of nerves with you. It touched a lot of nerves with me, and we even had a little fun with it from time to time. But it's a very serious subject because it can get to this. This is extreme. These people don't want to let go. Primarily, it's men that don't want to let go. They don't want to see the woman with anybody else. So they stalk, they intimidate, and they result to violence. If I can't have you, nobody's going to have you. You know, and it's sad for this rapper and his family. It's just very very sad.
I think that where was that comment at? I just saw it. Let me put it back up on the screen. Hold on one second, Alex. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh
Yeah.
oh, I just
So
saw it.
yeah, it's a
You
lot
know,
of
of course.
lot of chats in there.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. I
Oh, is it Ellen's? She says I hate when rappers choose names like that. Is it that?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking for, but why don't I see
Yeah,
it?
I see it in the chat. You know, Ellen, these rappers they choose names like that because it's marketable. That's what the industry
Oh, there
calls
it
for.
is. There it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what the industry calls for.
Mm-hmm.
Things of that nature. A lot of these rappers, they rap about stuff they don't live. It's just that's what's marketable. Some actually live this stuff, but a lot
Mm-hmm.
do not. And they're talking
Right.
about stuff they don't live. You talk about some of these rappers, they grew up in the suburbs. You know, they don't know
Right.
about gang life and stuff like that, but they rap about it because that's what sells.
I want to say though too. Okay, I found the comment. I put it up on the screen. I think maybe what she may be implying, and I don't know, but I'm just going to take a wild guess at it. At least what I was thinking, the same thing too. As soon as you said the name, um, the problem with it is just like when we name our children, names and words have power, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to go by a name called Trouble, I'm not so sure what you're going to be expecting in life, because words have power to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you name yourself, your rapper name is Trouble, you know. I don't even know what to say, and I give my condolences to his family and his friends and his music community, his rap community, and all of that. But I just wouldn't pick a name personally
Yeah.
like that, because you got to be very careful with your words. A lot of times we're all, and I'm not saying just this person, this young man or whoever managed him, but a lot of us, we're all at times careless and reckless with our words, and sometimes it comes back to bite us. You know, my mother used to say when my children were small, be very careful about saying, you know, this child is bad, or this child is always going to be bad, or they're going to grow up to be this thing, and whatever this thing is something negative. And I learned not to do that. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of wince when I hear other people, other parents saying to their kids, you're bad, you're bad. The word is mischievous. If they're young and they're doing something that typically young kids that age 2, 3, 4, or whatever age they might be are doing, that's called mischievous. So we got to
Yeah.
really be careful in the world. The energy that we put out, it's a real thing.
Yeah. Aubrey, I fought so much as a child. I mean, I would have two, three
You would have
fights a
thought your
day.
name was you would have thought your name was Trouble, huh?
Yeah, you thought my name was Trouble. And I had grown folks. I'm talking about grown men, my mother's friends, would
Mm-hmm.
tell me, boy, you ain't gonna make it to live to see 21. They would tell me that because I fought so
Wow.
much in the street and people were so afraid of me physically that people started bringing weapons and stuff. So that's when, the tide started changing. People started carrying weapons and guns and stuff like that. They will
Ooh.
say that to me. You're not going to live to see 21 because somebody going to sneak up on you and do. Now, these are grown men supposed to be mentoring me, and
Mm-hmm.
this how they talking to me. You know.
Wow.
So, but having said that, I think that still doesn't excuse the incident,
Oh, no, no, no.
which is
Again,
a
like I said, I totally give my condolences. And oh, there goes my coffee. I got excited and kind of
uh
tipped it over a little. I dropped a few drops. I don't like that.
oh.
That Michigan cherry coffee is no joke.
But you better lick that desk. Get them drops off that.
I'm not gonna be that. I'm not gonna go that far with it. Okay. But no, no, no. I'm not condoning anything. But any don't misunderstand what I was saying. I'm not condoning any kind of violence, regardless of what his name was. His name could
Mm.
have been,
Desperado,
God, God,
anything.
God forbid, it could have been. I was thinking actually, and I guess now that I think about it, I won't say that name, but it's the
Yeah.
name of a tyrant that we all know, that
Oh,
was
okay.
a horrible tyrant that sent a lot of people to their death. Okay, let's say
Right.
that. But
But
I mean, even if that was that person's name, that doesn't give anybody the right to harm him. No, but I'm
yeah.
just saying, you just kind of do need to. People need to consider that. I feel, but
and
That's
and and
sad. And
and
I
I
kind of,
just
oh, go ahead. I was
no,
gonna
I'm
say
sorry.
something else.
I just wanted to point the thing, the view on the domestic violence situation
Mm,
that these
that's
people
where I
don't
was getting
let
ready to
go. Yeah,
go.
you go ahead,
Right.
Aubrey. You go ahead, Aubrey.
Yeah, yeah. Now that's what I was getting ready to get to, that part, the piece. So you were saying that he was visiting a lady, a woman friend, and we don't know what was between them, if anything was between them. She could have been just somebody that he knew and wanted to hang out with and say, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time, sis. Let me come by and say hi to you, give you a hug or whatever, and let's kick it a little bit. Just totally innocent or whatever it was. It doesn't give anybody the right to come in. But to get back to, like you said, that Kenneth and Shorty piece,
Yeah.
Kenneth has been, also in current trending topics in real time. So we know the show ended months ago. They finished taping this show months ago, and what we're seeing is something that happened months ago. So why is Kenneth still obsessed with being in the YouTube streets and publishing these old videos? These videos look like they're from years ago.
Right.
But
Right.
he's letting you know he's that kind of guy. And this is what I was talking about to you, Alex, on another podcast earlier. That I learned early on that a woman sometimes has to be willing to do whatever it takes to get rid of a man. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not going to be so in love with me that when I say it's over with and now I'm ready to move on, you're going to get off of me. You're going to get away from me. I don't want you calling me. I don't want you coming by my house uninvited. None of that. And
Mm-hmm.
whatever that takes, if it requires a restraining order, if it requires me to get a couple of my boys to kind of come see you, if you know what I'm saying,
Right.
I'm not playing that, because you're not going to be acting all obsessed with me,
Yeah.
because those things will snowball. They will
You-
snowball.
Exactly, because it's like, what do you do if you're sitting in your own house and somebody kick the door down and start popping off shots? It's like, what do you do in that situation? Even a piece of paper, doesn't help you from that. The protective orders or whatever, it doesn't prevent that. These people are just mentally ill. They can't control their emotions. I put this post on Facebook, a few days ago, and the inference was, if you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control your life. The
Mm,
jails, the cemeteries, bad business dealings, all these things go down because people cannot control their emotions. Emotions can be controlled, but when people get in their pain, they get in their feelings, they can't control themselves for some reason, and it gets out of hand. This is an extreme situation we're talking about with the rapper Trouble, and God rest his soul. But it's not an uncommon story, unfortunately. It's really not.
yeah, you're right. You're so right. I mean, it's so sad to think that this guy has now been taken away from his mother, his siblings. Maybe he had children of his own. I don't know. How old of a gentleman was he, by the way?
I'm not sure exactly what his age was. He probably less than 30 though.
Wow,
Hmm.
really young
Yeah,
guy. That's
yeah.
sad. That's
Hmm.
sad.
So,
And,
and to
mhm.
segue to some more shootings,
Oh Lord,
unfortunately, we want
yeah.
to get into the Uvalde, Texas shooting. Okay, which killed a whole bunch of them children and things of that nature. And the shooter's mother
Mm.
came out and said, "Please forgive my son. I'm sure he had reasons for doing what he did." Now, whatever that means, that would infuriate me.
What?
You
What?
know, that would infuriate me, and I'm sure it infuriated a lot of people.
Yeah.
This was a Latino or Hispanic young boy that went out and did this, and they're talking about how the police mishandled the situation. Now, the police are trained for these situations. They got bulletproof vests on, they got guns, they got automatic weaponry, they got all these things, and they refuse to storm that building and get that guy out of there. And they stop parents from going in and trying to get their children. So if you're not going to go in, I'm going in to get my child, even if it costs me my life.
I meant to send you the YouTube story that was on YouTube. A young lady who was the parent of two, I believe it was two young boys at that school, and she was working out in the field when she got word that there was a gunman in her children's school. She went past the sheriffs. She got her car in closer than they had their cars in, because apparently they had their cars, the police cars parked very far back from the school, I guess, to be safe. But like you said, and like she said, they had bulletproof vests, they had all this equipment, and they decided to stay back. And when she ran in and when she got out her car, they told her to come back. They actually grabbed her. They were going to arrest her. And because so many in the crowd said, no, let her go, let her go. Her children are in there. She ran in, got both her boys out, and she said that she heard the gunman. She heard the gunman. They had time. They could have saved many lives, many,
Right,
many
right,
lives. So
right.
I don't understand why you sign up to be a police officer when you know that your job is dangerous and you may not make it home. You may not make it home at night.
You
You
know,
may
you
not
know,
make it home.
this what
I don't
kills me.
understand that. That's like being a fireman and being afraid to run into a building that's on
Right.
fire.
You know what kills me about some police officers. I have to say some because I don't want people calling the podcast and trying to reach me to say stupid stuff. So I'm gonna say some police officers, an inordinate amount of police officers. I'll say that. Okay, they have all the issue in the world running into a dangerous situation, but have no problem shooting unarmed black people. Okay. Now you're trained to run into these schools or to run into these office buildings, to cordon off the area, all the negotiating skills, all this come in training. Okay. You won't do that when it's necessary, but you will shoot an unarmed person in the back. So are you trained to do that? And this is why respect for officers of the law at an all-time low because cameras are everywhere. People have watched the behavior of these officers, and they have absolutely no support at this point in time. None. And it's sad.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gobsmacked. I'm gobsmacked at this situation. And I guess they're saying that federal authorities are investigating the local police there at the local level. But again, I just it's unbelievable to think that they didn't do more. Like there was a time when they were saying that they could have went in and broken the windows and gotten the other children out. I mean, anything, but it's sad they didn't do more. They didn't do more. There was so much more that they could have done.
You got the tools that you need to go in there and get that man out, kill that man or whatever. But you bring him out alive, and 18, 19 kids and two or three teachers are dead. Okay, you got there in enough time. I'm not saying nobody would have died, but I doubt 21 or 22 people would have been killed that day had the cops acted in the way they're trained to behave and go in that school and disarm that man or kill that man or whatever they needed to do to keep those kids and those teachers safe.
Yeah, let's be careful with those K words. I don't know about that, that YouTube algorithm thing. Okay, so let's be careful
Yeah,
with that the K word. But
yeah.
unalive, I think we like to say
Oh,
here.
unalive. Okay, unalive.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
Um,
but I mean it's crazy. And then also, I mean, I'm gonna go back a little bit. Well, two things. So the Brooklyn shooting, where we had a guy who was a white supremacist, who is a white supremacist because he made it out alive. And one of the things I noticed in one of the pictures that I saw of the gunman that killed what was it, 10 people,
oh,
and
that was Buffalo, New York. That was not
uh,
Brooklyn. It's
oh,
Buffalo.
I'm sorry. I said Brooklyn. I'm sorry. In my head, I'm thinking Buffalo, but I'm sorry, Buffalo, New York. The one of the things that I noticed in one of the photographs of them capturing this gentleman was that the police officers almost looked like they were like had their arm around him like he was a buddy or something. I'm like,
Probably
what?
probably was.
What?
You
What?
know,
Like really? What? He just killed all these people, and you guys, y'all just treating him like you just picking him up, and it's like a simple call of maybe he loitered or maybe he threw a piece of trash on the ground or something.
but they
Like
probably took
really?
well, they probably took him to Wendy's the same way they did with the other shooter that
Well,
did a mass shooting. So who
here
knows what
here
they did?
here closer to home, and I want to bring this one up. Here closer to home, in Oxford, Michigan, where the young man went in and his parents were called in for a conference with the principal, and they he was told to they were asked, the two parents, the mother and the father. So this kid came from a two-parent home, a good home, quote unquote. I'm doing the air quotes here. And the parents were asked to take him home because he had been it was probably his second or third time where he had been caught in the classroom, uh, doing drawings of guns, and that he was shooting other students, and he was on social media talking about it. Well, guess what? The parents refused to take their son home, and that's what's now known as the Oxford mass shooting in school,
Mm,
at that high school. And
mm,
so right now, so it's been brought up in the news today because one of the parents of one of the slain students, they've entered into a federal lawsuit because there's several parents from that school that have entered into a federal lawsuit against that student and against the school district, because the school district knew this kid was problematic. But why? Because he's from a privileged background and he has a certain color skin. Well,
mm,
we're gonna make sure he doesn't get a record because he'll need to get a job when he graduates.
mm, mm.
That's my take on it. That's my
And
opinion.
and just to step back a second to the Buffalo incident and other incidents like it. Now we know there are some of these shooters that are of other ethnic groups, maybe Spanish ethnicity, maybe one or two black people may do this thing or whatever. But this is predominantly a white male act, primarily. Okay,
Yeah, it is.
and and this is why it's predominantly a white male act. They are scared to death right now. White men are scared to death. And they're scared because they know the numbers are not in their favor. They've always been the majority in this country. They've always
But I,
ran this
I gotta
country.
I gotta interrupt you. So when you say not in their favor, what does that mean?
That means that by 19, by 2050 in this country, because of the birth rates, death rates, things of that nature, white folk will be the minority in this country in 2050. It's not that far from now. Okay, and they know this from the Census Bureau and all these different kind of things. They know this, and they know without the numbers in their favor, the power base starts to subside, and they're scared. They're in a fight to prevent genetic annihilation.
So
And with
I
all
don't know. I want to kind of stop you. The language you're
mm,
saying. So what you're saying is, okay. Let me see if I understand you. So what you're saying is that when you say the numbers are not in their favor,
mm,
you're simply saying, and correct me if I'm wrong. You're simply saying that their numbers are dwindling and other groups of people's numbers are having an uptick. Is that what you're
that's
saying?
it exactly.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they fear that it makes them afraid. And so you have rhetoric coming from Fox News and the other Haggerty's and these other people, Rush Limbaugh, who's no longer with us. All this rhetoric will come from these people influencing these kids, 13, 14, 15-year-old 15-year-old white kids who they're telling this country will no longer be yours when you get my age if you don't do something now. Okay, and they keep pounding that and pounding that, and before you know it, it's easy to buy a gun. It's easier to buy a gun than it is to buy a bag of potato chips. They're all over the streets, so you can get a
Yeah, well,
gun.
yeah,
Okay,
right. I was gonna say I don't know about the bag of potatoes, but easier than buying, let's say, for example, certain medicines that can be used for other things that we know of, right?
right,
My son went off to school in Syracuse years ago, and he practically had to have me. Well, he not practically, he did. He had to have me go to the uh, pharmacy here and ship to him out there in New York, from Michigan to New York, ship out allergy medication, because there, by a college campus, the young people, even though they're young adults, they couldn't buy it. Because why?
right,
Because it's used for other activities that are illegal, right?
right,
So, but getting back to the gun thing, you absolutely can. In this country, you can go and buy a lethal weapon. You
right.
know, and
Automatic, powerful automatic weapons.
that I've said for years. Having had family members in the military, there's no reason that anybody needs that. You're not going
No,
hunting. You're not hunting the animal with it. So we
right,
know what that's used for. So why do you need that? Like, what kind of business are you in that you need that? I don't get it. But
right.
you
But
know,
it, it's it's it's
it
it's it,
is.
it's a it's just a thing of you know white supremacy is falling, and they're scared now. And because they're scared, they resort to what they know. And how did they get control of the country in the first place? Violence, intimidation, murder. That's how they got control of the country to begin with. So that's all they know. So now, being as afraid as they are, okay, with that fear, this is how they act out. And this is what you're seeing now. Okay. And there's a real paradigm shift taking place. And we're going to be in this thing for at least 10, 15 years. Okay. So unfortunately, hopefully all of us are here now, will be here in 10 or 15 years. But there's a serious paradigm shift and change taking place with people and with the planet. Global warming is something else right now. We don't even know what season we're in half the time. So there's a lot going on, Aubrey, a lot.
Okay, and those are things that you're saying. Those are in your opinion. I just want you to be clear about that.
Yes, yes. In my
Okay,
opinion, yes.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. In my opinion.
All right, because not everyone agrees with that opinion, but you're entitled to it. So
but if you want to sue somebody, call Aubrey.
what? What?
Don't call me. Call Aubrey.
Uh, and we don't get these likes up, I'm gonna be suing these viewers out here in chat land.
Yeah, get these likes
And you
up. Hit the
could
like button. You
can
you
we
should
get the
not be here. You should not be here without hitting that like button.
yeah, if you've been here more than 4 or 5 minutes, you're enjoying something about it. Whether it's big headed Alex W. Leath or whether it's little old sweet lovable me, I'm
No.
probably it's me, but nonetheless, go ahead. You're on actually Aubrey and the He Says She Said podcast. Go ahead and like the video. It's free 99 today. Okay.
Yeah. Free
Yeah,
99.
that's what it is. Oh, LMV. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of the different names of products. But for example, LMV said she got carded for buying NyQuil. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They a lot of the pharmacies around the nation, they will get your legal identification, and you cannot purchase it if you do not have a state issued license or what have you, or ID card. They won't allow you to buy it, and the reason why that is because, like I said, well, we know there's a use for that. That in disables people for people to do other things. So we won't get into all of that, but we all know what
Right.
that's about.
Right.
But
Right.
yet and still, and that's a bad thing, that to be using something like NyQuil for that. But
Mm-hmm.
yet and still, a lethal weapon that will take your whole life away much more quickly and easily.
Mm-hmm.
You can just go in and buy that at a what is it? Basically a gun show here in America. You can go to a gun show and not even have any waiting time, not really even have any real background check. I'm like, what? Are you
Mm.
kidding me?
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
leading. So what's the what do you think is our next
Yeah. I just want to address Hammer G. I think is in the chat,
mm.
and Hammer G says, "Do I think the
Oh, okay,
racist?
wait. I'll get this. Oh, is that it right there?
Yeah. Do I think the numbers have anything to do with the Roe versus Wade reversal? Not particularly, but it does have something to do with it. And the reason why I say that is Planned Parenthood was created for one purpose. I'm not going to get into it,
Please
but
don't.
but
Not
look
here.
up. Everybody go and look up and research a woman named Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger. Look up and find out why she created Planned Parenthood. What was her sole purpose? And she was funded by Bill Gates' father. I'll leave that alone.
Okay. All right.
But the next thing I want us to get into is
Something a little funnier, or maybe it should
oh
have
yeah,
been funny.
these last two gonna be hilarious.
I
Monique
don't know
and
how
DL
hilarious.
Hughley. Monique and DL are fighting now. Okay, so what are your thoughts about that? It started out as it started
And it started right here in Detroit, Michigan, where I'm from. So
right.
go
Monique
figure.
Monique didn't like her contract as far as being headliner or whatever the particulars were. DL says her contract was fair. She didn't like it. She went at him. Okay. Now, Monique obviously has a history of, she had it out with Oprah. She actually told Oprah Winfrey to suck her D. We know she don't have one. but she told Oprah that.
I don't know
Okay,
what she has, but okay, if you say so.
yeah, that's what she told Oprah. Okay,
Yeah,
she
right.
called out Tyler Perry. She called out Lee Daniels. She called out Netflix. She called out Amy Schumer. She called out. Now she's calling out DL. This is on and on. So one has to ask themselves: is this a pattern with her? Okay, and it very well could be. But what I'll say is this: we never really know what's going on behind the scenes, what's truly happening. But one thing I do know is that Hollywood, the entertainment business, is a very cliquish industry, and if you're not rolling or accepted in certain cliques, they tend to
Hmm.
try to sabotage your career.
Really?
Cat Williams is not a cliquish person. This is why you don't
Okay.
see Cat Williams in a lot of movies. Before Cat Williams started to speak out about the industry, he was in a
Hmm.
lot of movies.
Hmm.
Okay, but
Yeah,
once he
that's why.
started, but once he
That's why.
started to open his mouth,
Hmm.
what were you going to say? Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you, but I was agreeing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, because once he started to speak out about things he saw in the industry, they took him out of movies. No more
Mm.
movies, no more of this, no more of that. Now they can't stop his stand up because that's his independent contracting thing. That's his own business. Okay.
Okay.
But they can prevent him from being in movies and television shows and making appearances certain places and so forth. They can prevent that, and they did it. But Cat Williams
Wow.
still prospers because he has the gift of comedy and he controls his own brand and so forth. Okay. Dave Chappelle wasn't a very cliquish person. So they called him a crackhead and did all kind of stuff. He ran off to Africa and to disappear and get away because they had so much pressure on him. So when you're not a very cliquish person and you start to say certain things, the industry as a whole comes after you. And those that are huge stars will pull away from you out of fear that they will get attacked for either defending you or befriending you or something like that. They'll run away from you quick. I don't want my career tainted because of nothing you said. So yeah. So I think it's interesting.
Okay, I've got a question, and my hand is raised. I've got a question. So,
Okay.
who are you saying this about? Like, are is this a generalized statement that you're saying about the industry? Because I do believe that um, many things that you just said about the industry are true, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
a click is, entertainment, really anything to me, any industry that you're in. If you work at the grocery store, if you work in the office, oftentimes any place of work is cliquish and there's politics involved, right? But
Right.
what I'm trying to understand is, are you saying that in defense of why am I
Of
thinking Ellen?
Monique.
Monique. I know I'm thinking
Yeah.
for whatever reason I'm thinking Ellen and I'm seeing Monique, so that makes no
Yeah.
sense to me. But whatever, my mind works in a mysterious way,
Right. Okay.
you know. But
In
but
defense of her, I'm
yeah, are
saying
you?
that that is a
Mhm.
possibility because I know this industry. Okay.
Yeah, but
Now
my
on the
my thing is okay. Okay, my turn to talk just
okay,
for
go
a
ahead.
second.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with that defense is that like I said, many of the things that you said are true. But here's the problem with that: how are you going to come out on a stage here in Detroit, Michigan, and make this about roasting DL because he's not behind your contract? Your husband, who is your manager or daddy, as you call him, your
Yeah.
husband negotiated that contract, dear. So now,
Mm-hmm.
whatever he told you, first of all, you should have realized you've been out of the off the scene for like what 13 years,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Doing just small things maybe to keep yourself afloat. But
Right.
you come in with a heavy hitter like D.L. Hughley, who has a daily, nationally televised or nationally broadcast radio show. You come in and you think you're the headliner. In what world does that work?
Yeah.
In what world does that work? And furthermore, be professional and take that up with the proper authorities, not DL and not people that have spent 200 $150 to see you of their good hard earned money, and you come out and be not funny trying to roast somebody. That's not cool.
Yeah. And that scenario I outlined, that was one aspect of being in defense of Monique. But here's the other aspect of when you can't be in defense of her. Well, it's actually two aspects. The first one is what we always talk about, Aubrey. If you got problems with 10, 11, 12 people, at some point you got to look at yourself. You got to take stock of yourself and take some accountability. It's not everybody but you. You got to look at yourself and say, what part am I playing in this? Yes, it's a cliquist industry. Yes, people do things. Yes, I can be blackballed or whatever, but I chose this industry. You can't complain because you chose to be in it. Okay, so it can't be everybody but you. The other thing is she kind of hit below the belt when she talked about DL's daughter when she was 13 being sexually molested or whatever by a gentleman who supposedly was a friend of DL Hughley, a friend of DL Hughley's family.
It's actually a 13-year-old boy that was a
Right.
friend.
That's what I'm
He-
gonna get to. That's what I was getting to.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Okay.
Because Monique made it seem like this was a grown man that did this. Okay. She never specified the boy's age. And DL said these were two 13-year-old kids, the boy and his daughter. They were 13 years old. The boy did some inappropriate things. And when his daughter came to DL didn't handle it right. He said to her, "That's what kids do." And she took offense to that, and that hurt her for years. Of course, he has
Mm.
since apologized. He loves his daughter loves him. But for Monique to go on air to give the impression that that was a grown man and a friend of DL's that touched his daughter and DL would not do anything was a shot at his manhood, a shot at his family, a shot at his daughter, reopening wounds, making things public that probably shouldn't have been made public. So when you
Hmm.
what does that have to do with a contract?
Nothing.
So why she would do
Absolutely
that, I have
nothing.
no idea.
But she's showing us what is that saying that when people show you who they are. I think Maya Angelou has a saying, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, so please forgive me if I'm not saying it word for word, but in justice says, um, believe people when they show you who they are. I feel
Mm.
like Monique has shown us since the movie Precious, when she won the Academy Award. She's been showing us who she is. She's a very difficult person to work with. And I understand, Robo, you're saying that Monique is a woman. Let me go back to that comment. So, Monique is a woman who refused to be controlled and got ostracized. That could be, but it also could be that maybe she's just a difficult person. I put it back in the chat in response to you that uh, even the leader of the free world has controls and restraints. Okay, so now if you're the president of the United States and you're the leader of the free world and you've got restraints, what in the world would make us think that Monique, an actress, a comedian, a very talented, gifted woman, no doubt, what would make us think that she wouldn't have restraints or constrictions? Um, you go to work, because here's the problem with this. You go to work for other people. If, let's say, if I'm, would be fortunate enough to be wealthy and have you on stage here in Detroit, and I decide that D.L. Hughley is the headliner, I'm not really caring what you feel about it. So now, if you didn't want to be on the show and have DL be the headliner after you, how about you just bow out? How about you bow out before you come here? Because people are easily replaced, whether it's a comedian, a model, a rapper. People
Right.
are easily replaced because there's somebody, trust me, there's somebody more talented than you that's lesser known that's willing to work for less money. How about that? So
Right.
now, unless you're putting the show together, when Monique gets up the $1 billion to put her own show together and be the headliner all across the world and all across the globe, then you know what? You do what the contract says.
Yeah, I think that when people say, okay, when she did Precious, she actually became Precious's mother in real life. A very very difficult person is the one she portrayed in the movie, right? So, but after that movie, she did such a great job in that movie, and then she got the Oscar or whatever for the movie. She expected her salary per movie to go through the roof. Okay, at that point, and that
Hmm.
did not happen. Okay, and she may have had a point there. Okay, because her
Hmm.
salary should have gone up for winning an Oscar.
Oh, it absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely
so
should have. I agree with that. Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from her talent. She is very gifted, and she did the heck out of that role. Like, wow.
So her thing is, why don't my salary go up? So when I get a next Netflix special, I get top dollar. Now her beef was with Amy Schumer because Amy Schumer got top dollar more than Monique for doing a a Netflix special. So I mean, it just started from there. It snowballed, and she had problems with all these people. And what the young lady is saying, I think it was Roro that's saying that she didn't want to play ball or she didn't want to do certain things and got ostracized. And that's what I was saying about the industry being cliquish because they'll
I,
get together and make
mhm.
sure you're blackballed. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if that's really it though. I really feel like having worked in the industry on a much smaller scale, smaller level. Okay, so for example, um I could go in, my agent could go in and negotiate contracts for me, and then there's a level that once I got established, when I first came in, talking about talent and willing to work for free basically, or for a little bit of nothing. When I first came into being a spokesmodel, when I first came into being a commercial actress, doing local commercials and voiceover, I could go in, I mean, I would go in, my agent at that point, she set my contract, she set my amount, my hourly rate, right? Okay, fast forward a year and a half later, I was able to demand more money when I started working in other markets bigger than the Detroit market. I went over to Chicago, worked over in New York. Okay. So now I could come back home here and demand more money. All right. But again, that's what the market will bear. And what I have a problem with is somebody saying Monique or anybody, or flip it around the other way, Amy Schumer being using Monique as a guidepost. You use people as a guidepost, but what you can't do is you can never really say, it's like a house. If you're trying to sell a house in the market, the same house in Houston, Texas doesn't cost the same exact price if you move it to the suburbs of New York City, right? It's just not going to command the same amount because the market is different, right? So
Right.
what you can't say is I'm going to go to Netflix and demand that they pay me $10 million. Guess what? It's a negotiation, silly. Okay, it's a negotiation. And let's be realistic, let's be real clear. We know in the current environment that we live in, we know that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, for example, female entertainers do not command the same amount as male entertainers of the same category and class and talent level. It
That's
just
a
does not
fact.
happen.
That's a
And black
fact.
people in this country do not command, and Hispanic people and other minorities oftentimes do not command what their Caucasian counterparts command. Okay, so let's not be silly about this thing. You enter into negotiations, and it is what it is. You may go into negotiations wanting 10 million. If you come out with five or two or one, it is what it is, and
You
you
know,
can't tell anybody what to pay you.
yeah, and Aubrey, it's the same thing with the adage where even in regular corporate America, getting a regular job, it's been said that black people have to work twice as hard to make just as much as their white counterparts. It's the same thing in every industry because
Hmm.
right now they run the country. And again, back to my point, this is where the fear comes in again because they're afraid they won't be running it soon, and so they got to get rid of some people. Okay, so but I don't want to digress back to that. I just want to make that point while you was on it. But
Hmm.
Monique's thing is Lee Daniels said years ago. He said Monique is so gifted, she's so brilliant, but she won't play ball. Now, what he mean by that, I think I know what he mean. I won't get into it, but whatever he mean by that, I guess he felt that if she would just go with the flow, do what she's told, look the other way, do all that kind of stuff, she'd have been making buku money by now. And I think she chose not to do that. She wanted to do it her way. And when you want to take the long road and do things your way, you get beat up a lot along the way. And that's what's happening, to her. Now, is some of this stuff self-inflicted? Probably. A lot of it is probably self-inflicted. But again, you don't throw low blows by bringing people's children and their families into these situations because that has nothing to do with your contract being badly negotiated. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's kind of what it boils down to. A lot of people are saying, and on a little slightly different tone too. A lot of people are saying, and I'm not. I pretty much feel like I agree with this, and I don't know. Again, I don't know a whole lot, and I don't claim to know a whole lot about her husband, the manager. But you
Daddy.
know, yeah, daddy. I don't think that, if he's the guy that actually sat down and negotiated her contract for here in Detroit when she came with D.L. Hughley, and then she gets upset about it. I think that's a problem. She needs to take up with daddy. She needs to take
Mm-hmm.
that up with daddy. And the thought that comes to my mind again is that if you got your husband acting as your manager, or even any family member, be it your husband, if you're a child star, your mom, your dad, your cousin, your first cousin, your third cousin, you need to really kind of understand what set of skill sets does this person have, once again, to be able to go in and negotiate with these heavy hitters. Because trust me, people will give you wine and Hennessy and throw girls on your laps, or
Oh
guys
yeah.
if that's what you like, or
Yep.
whatever. They
Mm-hmm.
will throw all kinds of things. Trust me, I know. They will throw
Yep.
all kinds of things with you to sweeten up a contract. But in the meantime, they're thinking with their business mind, and they got you over here with somebody doing something naughty and nasty to you, and you're
Mm-hmm.
signing a contract. You're signing off on a contract for your talent, and you've gotten them that you've been basically lowballed. But that's
Yeah.
your fault. So be
Mm-hmm.
careful who you pick as your manager. Maybe get someone that's actually professional. Because, see, I wouldn't want anybody, if I was still in that industry, I don't want anybody in my family managing me. I want
Mm.
somebody that's been to law school, understands contracts. That's what I want. But, maybe
Right.
that's just me being professional.
Yeah, but how would you feel when you were a professional model and you travel frequently and you were professional,
Hmm.
you was at the top of your game? So
Had
how would you
cars waiting to pick me up and all the
right?
whole nine
Yeah,
yards.
the whole shebang. Okay, rolling around with stars and athletes and that whole thing. Okay, so you was in that life. So how would you feel if you knew a lesser model? You knew you were better than this person, be it male or female, black or white, whoever was making more than you or getting more gigs than you based off their complexion, maybe their sexual orientation or whatever it was, but had nothing to do with the gifts and the profession. But they just got more based on these exterior things. How would that make you feel?
It happened all the time, from the beginning of my career till the end. It happened all the time. But it also happened that I'd be sitting at home on a weekend, and we have the what's called the Grand Prix here in Detroit, one of the few American cities that has that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And someone as big as a Mario Andretti, you may have heard of him.
Yeah, yeah, he famous.
Yeah, he's kind of famous all
Mm-hmm.
across the world, across the
Yeah,
globe. Would
yeah.
come in and is having a big sit down dinner, like Ford Motor Company is sponsoring the race, and Mario Andretti's in town, and they want someone, a model, to walk him in, on the red carpet, to walk him into the actual banquet hall, and he demanded that that person, that model, be black, and they called me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but as far as what you just said, it happened all the time. It
Right.
happened all the time that somebody that hadn't worked as long as hard as I had, someone that maybe didn't have the talent or the skill sets that I had, was getting paid more or getting hired to do this or that. And guess what? You know what? I didn't. I learned to live with it, because that's what you do. You create, and that's why I say again, I don't ever really put myself in a position to try to play myself against other people. Just like here in the YouTube streets, there's people with bigger channels or whatever, more subscribers and all this type of thing. Only thing that I can do, Aubrey can do, is to just say, I'm going to be the best person that I can be. I can't be the best Alex. I can't be the best this one, Janice Hilton. I can't be the best uh Kimpire, but I can be the best Aubrey. That's what I can do. And
Absolutely.
let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel. So I don't get concerned about, and that's why I say I think that's a real issue for somebody like her that's been in the industry over 30 years, and you're still bothered by this kind of stuff. There
Mm.
there's a whole mental therapeutic thing that needs to take place, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. And D. I mean, the last thing I'm gonna say about this, that DL said that he was warned not to work with Monique, and against his better judgment, because she's gifted and talented, he did it, and he said never again because it blew up in his face.
And
According to him,
that you said that was DL, or you said
D
that was Steve Harvey?
DL.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DL. Yeah, he was warned. not to work with Monique, and he did it against his better judgment, and it blew up in his face. So you know,
Right, and DeSosa's kind of agreeing with me. She's saying it's part of life. It really, it literally is. Whether you're in the entertainment industry, Alex, or whether you're working in an office somewhere where some person is going out with the boss and getting hot and heavy with the boss, and they're moving up the ranks, and you know that you're more talented. You know that you bring more gifts to whatever the situation is. You can't get excited about it. If you want to get excited about it, then leave, or demand whatever, but go to EEOC. But what you don't do is just make a total arse of yourself for the sake of making that's just not how, to me, that's not how you handle it. You're going to be you If you're mature, you're going to be more strategic. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, but how many people, we know this. I mean, how many people have sold their soul in that business for $1? I mean, and those that aren't willing to do certain things for that increase in dollars, they don't get the work. They get blackballed, they get ostracized, they get whatever. So, and that's what I mean by cliquish. You know what I mean? So, but sometimes you're your own worst enemy, you know. And if you're your own worst enemy, you got to take a good, hard, long look in the mirror and make some changes. At least your strategy has to be different. You can't just keep going after people. If it's not working for you, change it, acquiesce, do something different, that may work. So,
Right, right. And
yeah.
DeSosa's agreeing with what you just said and saying that Monique has lost so much money going after people like Lee Daniels, Oprah, and company. Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A
yeah.
lot of me. I mean, millions of dollars she lost. Calling out Tyler Perry and calling out Oprah and these just millions of and Steve Harvey. She had issues with. And just a lot of money. She's lost. So, something that she's gonna have to live with, I guess, and figure out how to do things a little bit differently, to get the desired result.
I'm laughing because Ellen is telling Jeremy to go away. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Ellen, he's reminding people to get those likes up. Thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up. Thumbs up the
Yeah.
video. I appreciate it. It's on sale today, free 99. And speaking of Harvey, isn't there a Harvey that we wanted to talk about? Was
Oh
it
yeah.
Lori Harvey
That's
and
your girl right there.
mm,
That's your girl right there.
I don't know about all that.
She a heartbreaker. You know about breaking hearts. She a heartbreaker.
I believe you. I believe you. I believe you alone. I do know a little something about that, but that's neither here nor there. That's for story time. but, but
But
so what do we have about Lori Harvey and the
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan? Oof.
You know,
Lord
last
have
year,
mercy.
last year, Michael B. Jordan was voted the sexiest man in America. You know, he's on the
Mm.
cover of the magazines, and they voted him. He's a nice looking guy. He's talented. He's sexy. He's all these different kind of things. And he apparently fell in love with Lori Harvey, who takes no prisoners. Okay, so
You do realize she's only 25, right? Well, we're
right,
talking about this. You do realize the young lady is only 25 years old, right?
I can dig it. And this is why she should not be in any committed relationships. Okay. She had a relationship with the rapper Future. Future's a very famous rapper. I'm sure you probably don't even know who Future is, Aubrey. But
I do. I do.
you know about Future?
I
Okay.
know about Future. Isn't he also a person that has been known or alleged to have hit a couple of women too?
Um,
Is that the same rapper? Not to correct me if I'm wrong now.
I'm not sure, but I know he has a
Mm.
child with Sierra, the singer Sierra, who's now Russell Wilson's wife, the NFL star.
Then
Okay.
he's the one. He's the one
Okay.
that I heard about. Okay, but
Yeah.
allegedly, right?
He has some questionable behavior, allegedly. Okay.
Hmm.
But Lori Harvey dated him. She got you to get caught up in these rappers and this and that. And I guess she's living her life, and but if you're going to live your life and have a sketchy dating history or whatever, do your thing. But don't pretend like you want to be in a relationship or you're ready for commitment when you're not. And I'm not
Who said she was out there pretending that she was ready to be all of this and all of that? Who
well
says that? Who says
suppose
that, Alex?
listen, they were together
You
for a
gonna try to
year.
you gonna try to sneak a whole bunch of stuff in on me if I let you, won't you?
Yeah. They were together for a year. So that's a relationship to me.
Okay, no,
Okay,
I'm not saying it's a
so
relationship, but I'm just saying what you saying that. Oh, go ahead, go on. Let me let you
no,
talk.
no. Supposedly, it's being reported that
Hmm.
I guess when he asked her to marry him, that turned her off, and she wanted out. This is what's being reported in some sectors.
Right.
Okay,
Now that I agree with. But do you think, and you're the main one that's been on this channel during our Ready to Love recaps and reviews, during our put a ring on it, but more so, you talked about the younger 20s, mid 20 people marrying, and that being, in your opinion, a recipe for oftentimes for a divorce. So
yeah,
again, I go back to say that she's only 25.
yeah, and think about how many times we talked about this. The
He's
prefrontal
35.
the prefrontal cortex in her brain just got cooked all the way. It just developed at 25. So before that, she wasn't cooked all the way upstairs, as most young people are not cooked. So her dating history is very sketchy. She out there having fun or whatever the case is, and do that. But you don't need to be in any relationships. 20 to 30, that's that discovery age. You're trying to figure out what you like, what you need, what you don't like, what you're going to be in your life. All these different things
Right.
you got to figure out. And you don't want to convolute things by acting like you're in a relationship or wanting a relationship, because 9 times out of 10, they do not last. Particularly in the entertainment industry, nothing lasts. Somebody like um,
That's not true.
somebody like Angela Bassett and Courtney B. Vance, that's an anomaly. You
Hometown
know,
guy, that
yeah.
Courtney B. Vance, and so is Denzel, and Paulette, and
Denzel and
so
Paulette, Sam Jackson and his wife.
Samuel Jackson. There's a bunch of successful marriages in
Yeah,
Hollywood. There's
yeah,
the guy that plays the voice of God, that's also
yeah.
from Michigan here. Help me
Morgan
out. James
Freeman.
James no,
Oh,
no.
James Earl
Well,
Jones.
maybe I shouldn't say God. He played the voice of something else. But he has that voice with that
Yeah,
vibrato in it. Yeah,
James
James
Earl
Earl
Jones.
Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's been
And
married for
there
years.
are successful marriages in Hollywood. Don't let people fool you about that. There are
Yeah.
successful long term marriages that do last.
Hmm.
But yeah, but I mean, at 25, and if she's not ready to get married now, he's 10 years her senior, so he's 35. So yeah, it is
Right.
about the time that a man who wants a family, that generally is about the time when a man will start thinking about marriage and a wife and a house with the white picket fence. That's about the time. But because she's 25 and she's still developing her career, and she's absolutely right, because for a man, what a man wants, uh, basically, when somebody, generally speaking, to settle down and settle in with, he's going to expect her to be more catering to his needs than hers, and that's not a good compromise. So
Mm-mm.
again, you negotiate your relationship too. If I'm not ready to settle down, I'm not going to settle down with you and have you telling me what to do, and I got to cook you dinner every night, and you don't eat leftovers and all this kind of carrying on. I'm not going to do that.
And
No.
keeping you pregnant and this kind of things. Now, I don't know what Lori Harvey does for a living. If you're coming into the room, I see people coming into the chat. Please hit the like button as you come in. Um,
Thank you,
I'm
Alex.
I'm not sure what Lori Harvey does for a living. I'm not sure if she's just a marketing guru like the Kardashians do. Or
I'm
what
not
is she
either.
after? I have, other than her being Steve Harvey's daughter, I have no idea what she does. You know, but being in the entertainment business, of course, she has access, and 50% of success is access to everything. So I just think that if she wants to have fun and do that, then have fun and do that. See, a lot of people, and particularly women, because men will go out, we'll lay around, and we'll be studs, and we'll be Mr. Sexy, and always dating different people. It's a wonderful thing, right? But we always know that women get stigmatized with that. Okay, if they go and lay up with this one, they all over Hollywood laying around, blah, they get stigmatized. I don't agree with it, but society, yes, they stigmatize the women. So, but if that's what she wants to do, then just stay free and date and do what you want to do.
It
But
hasn't stopped any of the Kardashians as far as being stigmatized. So, I mean, I think in this generation and the era that we're in, it's a lot less stigmatizing if a person is of means and has wealth, right? And they look good. They're able to perhaps better control their reproduction, by choice of birth control or different things like that of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they do have a baby, they're actually able to provide financially for that child. So I think it's a lot less stigmatizing nowadays for women to kind of shop around, if you will, for a guy friend or a boyfriend or whatever that thing is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, my point, I guess my thing of it is that she's living in a free society. We're not in a Muslim country where you can't date people and you gotta just be so in the closet or whatever like that. She's free to date. She's free to
Mm-hmm.
date. She's free to, as you say, maybe if she wants to lay around, because I don't know that she does that, but if that's what she wants to do, she's free to do that.
Right.
She's absolutely free to do that, and I just keep coming back to that she's 25. Now,
Yeah.
here's the other side of that coin, though. 25, you blink your eyes and you're 35.
Right.
Now, your value in the marketplace, unfortunately, and I don't agree with this, but it is what it is.
Mm.
Your value in the marketplace, just like we were just talking about a moment ago about Monique's value in the marketplace, people have to be realistic and not be delusional about what is your value in the marketplace. And
Yeah.
value in the marketplace for a woman is a lot of times is very much based on age, is oftentimes based on appearance, is also based on your social economic standings, where you are. Are you poor, are you middle class, are you upper middle class, right? It's all of those things, and as well as what do you bring to the relationship in terms of your, in her community, is also status, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because she bears the Harvey name, even though that's his adopted daughter, it's not his biological daughter, but it's his adopted daughter.
Mm.
Um, that name carries a lot of weight, but
Yeah.
uh, she's got to be real careful with that, because the next 5 years are very important in terms of if she's looking for a spouse, a high value man. She needs to have a strategy. Okay, that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the traveling out my system. I'm going to finish up my master's degree, my law degree, or whatever thing that she wants to pursue. And then it may be, say, 27, 28. I'm going to be ready to find, that person that I want to settle in with. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but and a lot of times too within the industry, when you're sleeping around within that industry, because when you're in that industry, it's very small when you're in the industry. Okay. So you go to these events and you go to these screenings and you go to these different functions that people have in the entertainment industry. And if you've slept with half the room, your value kind of diminishes as far as you becoming a wife, someone to want to have children with, someone who want to, build a family. Now, your value goes down because it's like we can't even go anywhere. You don't slept with half the place. Whether it's right or wrong, it's not for me to say. I'm just saying it's a realistic view we have to look at when it comes to that. I know you don't agree, but it is real. It is real. May not be fair, but it's real.
Hey, you know what? Like I said, it's a real marketplace out there. People have to do what makes them happy. Um, they have to also kind of, I would like to think, integrate. Like if I was her mother or her auntie, I would say like more her auntie or something like that, or her older friend. I would tell her of some of my experiences, and like I said again, I would really punch up the fact that it's okay, like right now at 25, she's not ready to settle in with this guy. A lot of people are saying, oh, he's so handsome, he's this, he's that, but okay, but if she's not ready, what difference does it make? And as someone pointed out, DeSosa, if she's the one for him, why didn't he wait? Why doesn't he wait? And that's a very good point, because in life, I've learned through experience that when you meet the one, even if the timing is not right, uh, it can be, even though it's a great big world out there, there ain't that many of the ones out there. So, be careful who you let slip through your fingers, right?
Even if he if he she wanted him to wait and he asked her to marry him, she should have just said, not now. Maybe sometime in the future. Let's continue to keep things the way they are. I mean, we don't know what was said, but apparently there was a proposal and there was a rejection. So it's
Mm-hmm.
what's being reported. So
Oh,
if
okay. Oh,
if you want him to wait, then let him wait. But you ain't got to break up with a person.
Well, I heard. My understanding was that he broke up with her, but I want to read this comment that Hammer G. Very good point too, Hammer G. Thank you, because I did hear about this and it slipped my mind as we were discussing it. Lori has a skincare line, right? And it's a hot topic because right now Kim Kardashian has a new skincare line, and she utilized basically the name and kind of changed it around a little bit, and that's been a discussion as to whether or not Lori Harvey should sue her because she's basically stolen Lori Harvey's skincare line name, right?
Mm,
Once again, those
yeah,
Kardashians.
right.
Ooh.
They live via controversy. You know, they
That and
yeah.
stealing stuff from black folks, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
part.
Everything including the peen and eggs.
All of that, all of that, all of that,
You know.
and the hot wings,
And
and the body shape too.
yeah, that too. So but I think Lori Harvey needs to just stay single for a while, do her thing. Michael B. Jordan as well, because even if they were to stay together and get married, whatever, temptation's not going to stop. These are two beautiful people. Temptation is going to be endless, and you're just not going to be victorious in stopping that all the time. You're not going to say no to everybody. I always say this on this show. You're not going to say no to everybody. It's almost impossible because people don't care who you got home. If they want you, they want you. Period. Men, women alike. They don't care. Women come to basketball games and sit behind the wife of the player and talk mess. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't care if she's sitting here. I'm gonna go try to go to the hotel room tonight and go to the hotel and see what I can do over there. I don't care that
Don't
she's
make
sitting here.
don't make me have flashbacks, okay?
Yeah.
Don't make me have flashbacks about these heifers out here. Ooh, and their stringy hair they want to throw in your face. Mm-mm.
Oh, so
But
yeah,
you
you
know what?
you lived it.
A sister will get beat down though, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah. You lived that mess. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, but
So
anywho,
yeah,
anywho.
yeah, for real.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna read some of these. So while we get ready to wrap up, guys, thank you. Please like the video. It's free 99 today. I see so many people I haven't seen in a while. Good to see you, Kirby, Condessa, DeSosa. Always interesting to see you. Roro for real. Ellen. Where's Monique at? Did I see Monique in here? I don't see Monique. Jeremy, good to see you. Always, always, always.
Hammer G, who I don't see that often.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Hammer G. Thank you. Thank you for that one. A good catch. Good catch. Good point. But I want to go read some of these. And DeSosa was saying about that skincare line. She says, yeah, I didn't know that. And I really miss Wendy Williams. And I totally agree with you. Absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely.
mm.
Roo for real. She wasn't the one for him if he was ready, and she wasn't. That's a good point. There's thought to that school too, that there's validity to that if she wasn't ready but he was ready, that maybe she's not the one. That's a good point. um Here, DeSosa says Lori should marry a billionaire in the next 5 years.
That
It's certainly very possible. I
that's
think
the
a
that,
few.
that's the new game, especially for black women. That's the new game. Find a
I don't know if
billionaire.
it's a, I don't know if it's a game or not, but a millionaire or billionaire does not sound like a bad idea, especially if it's a very good person. If
The
he's
new
a very
game
good
is the
person.
billionaire. You
Oh, is
know.
it? Oh, the new game is the billionaire. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
See, millions aren't enough anymore. Now you
School
got to
me
marry a
about it.
billionaire. Hmm.
Oh my, school me. But there's only a few of those, so I don't know. But okay. Mocha Mima says Lori was with Future. Yeah, I was gonna say that when Alex was talking, P Diddy or Diddy, Diddy's son. Oh my lord, Trey Song and MBJ. Who else? Allegedly.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know about the Diddy son, but I had heard one of the comedians or somebody say earlier in the week that a woman that she had been with a father and son, and I was kind of like, well, who is that? So that's who that was, P Diddy and Diddy's son. Oh my lord. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I say her dating past is very sketchy. I didn't even want to get into all that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Mm,
I don't know. I guess me, because I'm not a guy, I don't have a problem with it. I mean,
mm,
it is what it is. She's dating people just like the guys are out here dating people. Whatever.
mm,
Um, Kirby says there will always be other people out there. There's no such thing as the one only. No, yeah, I agree with you. There's not. I think that there is a good fit for you. I think you're right, because all of it. Now, I'm gonna tell you this from my experience, at least anyway, all of it requires work. You're in a relationship with two people. We get back to that thing that we talked about at the beginning of the show with Monique and whatever her situation was. It requires negotiation all the time, all the time, all the time. It requires love, it requires respect, it requires trust. But no matter who you get with, it's going to be work. If you're going to stay with them for any length of time and you're not just there for the moment, for the night, for a couple of months, it's going to require work.
it's
Wouldn't
gonna
you
be
say?
work.
Wouldn't you agree with that,
It's gonna
Alex?
be it's gonna be work. You can't walk on a cloud forever. You know the high of it, the
The
euphoria of it.
that honeymoon phase,
Yeah,
basically.
that's 2 to 3 years. After that, the work will kick in, and can you sustain after that? Because you're gonna get a bunch of tests down the road. The 5th year mark, the 10 year mark, the 20 year mark. It's going to constantly come up where there's going to be tests, and can you survive those tests?
Exactly. And Mocha Mima says, yeah, I see that too. I predict for Lori Harvey that she'll marry a white man with big money. I can
Mm-hmm.
see that. I can see
Yeah.
that. I see that more and more of our celebrity sisters are thinking like me and thinking outside the box. Like, what is it that you have to be stuck in one race to have a man, have a husband? I don't really get it, but
Janet Jackson at 50 had a baby with a billionaire white guy. The rapper Eve is married to a billionaire white guy. You know,
so is
so
Serena Williams.
Serena Williams.
Not to cut you off, but Jeremy Speaks is saying, I think that it's the fact that Lori gets into relationships so quickly, hops on social media with it, and then proceeds to hop from celebrity to celebrity and being very public. Jeremy, that's an excellent point. That's a really excellent point, because now that part, I don't understand your generation. I don't understand this whole idea of this concept that if I'm dating somebody, I got to go to Instagram and that's got to be my Instagram boo. I don't understand it, but knock yourself out. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, I mean you can't make all your stuff public and then complain that it's public when people start coming after you. You made it public, so it's like,
Right. Now Kirby has a good point. Kirby says Lori Harvey's got game, because if you can make Michael B. Jordan stop dating white women, then she can do anything. You right about that, Kirby? Because that's what I heard. I mean, I heard he had a particular flavor. So, if he had a flavor, he was with Becky, and then he came over here to LaQuisha. She doing something. She doing something, and not every woman can do that. Yes, we
no.
do need that story time, LNV. We do need that story time.
Yeah, that's gonna be serious.
Because I got stories. I'm gonna have to block the names out, because some of you guys know some of these people too. But that's a whole nother story. Wait a minute, what do you say? Okay, what is Jeremy saying? Jeremy, I hope I haven't made a mistake by putting this on the board. If I date someone, you would never catch me with them on social media. Yeah,
Mm,
that's me. I'm real low key about my dating. I mean, you probably won't know until after we get married or something like that. It's just not really that serious for you to be my social media boo. It's just really not.
mm.
Um,
Wow.
yeah. I'm just,
Just
I'm just saying. Do you like having the social media boo? Because I was
no.
stalking your page and I saw some things and I was gonna say, "Hey, who is that?"
You stalking my page.
I was stalking your page and I said, "Hey, who is that chick?"
Well,
Okay,
listen, if you're gonna look
all
at my post and see all the likes, I got a few honeys out there looking my way. So I just,
I know some dropping in the DMs. Knock yourself
yeah,
out, because
yeah.
you. Hey, look, you'll be like, oh, I didn't even get a invitation to her wedding, because I'll be like, oh, I'll be on the honeymoon posting, like, they're like, what? She got married? What?
Look,
I like being low key with my life.
I'd be like, she done pulled the Lori Harvey. Ain't this something else?
No, it won't be a Lori. It won't be a Lori Harvey because it'll be for real, for real.
Well, okay.
It won't be just a dating situation or whatever. But
Oh my goodness. What?
okay, one more. Kirk, well, a couple more. Kirby says to Sosa, at the Sosa, Steve Harvey will chase that billionaire away because the man will be older. The man will be. I don't think so, Kirby. There's plenty of young guys in tech that are billionaires or multi millionaires. So I don't know, but there's plenty of those guys out there. But if Lori Harvey's husband to be is older than her dad, then I say no way. Just skip that, okay? Just go for a simple millionaire. Don't go for that billionaire if he's that old because that's problematic right there.
Oh
Oh,
my
hey Tuber
goodness.
Chat, how you doing? I didn't see you in the chat. Word up. Yeah, tell them. You tell them, Tuber Chat. Get those thumbs up. Get those thumbs up. Jeremy, did you check to see if you had your thumbs up? Go on your burner like I do sometimes. Go on your burner account on YouTube and like the video a second time. Lee, drop some things in the comment too, guys. We really appreciate you. We love you. You got any final words?
My other Mocha Mima says Alex got the sick and the shut in ladies.
I got a story about your aunt, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Let you tell it to
Oh
the
my
people.
goodness. Oh
I was
Lord
just
have
thinking when you
mercy.
said the sick and the shut in, I was thinking about you going over to the senior complex. Hey, but you know what? Everybody needs love. On a serious note.
Oh man. Listen. Y'all can say what you want about the sick and the shut in, but they got that social security money. So if I can get a piece of that.
Hey, hey. That's right. That's right. All right. Oh, I see it now. I see that comment. Okay, guys, we gotta close out because that game is coming on, and I said we were gonna be out of here before the NBA Finals because I'm watching. So, Alex, what are you having? You gonna have any particular beverages or dishes to go with the NBA? Are you just making some popcorn? What are you gonna have?
No, I got me a crumple top apple pie in there. And I'm gonna have that with some Haagen Dazs vanilla ice cream, butter pecan to be exact.
You've got some Haagen Dazs. Okay, I'm getting ready to get in my car. I'm headed over that way now. Haven't had That's so funny. I haven't even thought about. I have not had Haagen Dazs
it,
ice
it,
cream in forever.
it's still good. I mean, the pints have shrunk slightly since
Oh,
since the whatever the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, but they're still good. It still tastes the same. It still tastes the same. So
oh,
yeah,
that now you know what you're a man after my own heart. You know that high quality stuff is still that's good. The high
yeah.
quality stuff is still the high quality stuff.
Thanks a
But
lot, Hammer G. Put Hammer G's comment up there. That's a great comment.
I
Um,
gotta find it. Let's
yeah,
see. Hammer G is it
yeah,
toward the bottom?
yeah. Toward the bottom. I want to
Mm.
appreciate him for saying that.
Oh,
Definitely.
okay. I found it. It's right below this one, but I had to put this one up because Mocha
Yeah,
Mima wanted everybody to know that Alex is pimping the older crowd. That's right. That's right. You tell them, Mocha. You tell them.
they got that Social Security money. You know,
Say, and who is that? Mocha said them older ladies will give up them coins.
that's
Give up them
it.
coins.
That's what I'm saying. Some of them are widows. They got their husband's retirement. There's a lot of money in that.
Ooh. Oh, I know a few of them kind of ladies got that husband's retirement and that pension. Woo-wee. Okay, so
Yeah.
Hammer G says what? You want to go ahead and read it, Alex?
Yeah, Hammer G, I enjoy listening tonight. I adore you and Alex's voice. You both have perfect tone and timbre. I feel like we are just sitting around in the living room and talking. P.S. But I am at work. Okay.
Oh, that is a great compliment. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Hammer G. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. After having gone through this loss that I had earlier in the week, so many of you reached out on Instagram and even here over on YouTube on a video or what have you. Just any way you could reached out and gave me encouraging words. And I really love you and appreciate you guys. What do you say, Alex? You love these guys?
Absolutely. I told you have family in these Instagram streets, this Instagram family. You have people that you know personally, but you also have this YouTube family, and everybody loves you, and you have our support all the time.
Wow. Well, thank you guys. And on that note, game starting. We're out. Bye
Yeah.
now.